I'm actually pretty surprised that the Storm deck doesn't run Salamane's favor. That seems weird to me. The entire idea of the deck is it's much more built around the idea of accelerating its own game plan rather than decelerating the opponent's. Because there's two different ways to build like this kind of combo deck. You can focus more on stall, or you can focus more on acceleration. And Salamane's favor has always felt like a card that gives good value here. It's even less vulnerable than Stars Line, right? At its core, it's just another ramp deck. It's kind of like red-green ramp, except a different top-end finisher. Is it ever possible for this deck to run out of cards? It happens really rarely. We saw Hot Meowth run a version. I think it was Hot Meowth. He had the version that only had one Salamene. The more committal combo, I think, would have to run it. 3 Sanctums. Sanctum is part of your combo piece, right? Earlier versions of this deck were running 2 Sanctums. I like that 2 Emissaries. Emissary has always felt a little committal. I think no matter what, it's important for me to get some games with this deck. I mean, even if I don't want to bring this, it's still important to get good enough at playing it that I feel very comfortable with it. Because you always want to be able to play the deck very well if you're trying to target it. Oh, looky here. Bring it to what? Some future tournaments. I don't think Swim actually reads chat. I wish. Are you afraid of stream/Q sniping without delay? I think I'm set to anonymous. I don't know, delay is kind of below. Like, people sniped me all the time in Gwent, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's just being a streamer at that point. Like, I'm not gonna delay my stream just because I get sniped sometimes. Sometimes you just eat those losses, you know? It's kind of like, there's a card game principle where a lot of weaker players will typically over-tech. Like, there will be some matchups where they have... weaker players don't often like the idea of accepting certain bad matchups. You see this a lot with Gwent. Swears is a really good example. And there were some situations where Swears ended up being good. I have to play this right. I think I do. Kind of overplays into at any cost, though, if I play it right. Zeus does die. Right? Where it's like, sometimes you'll have bad matchups. Not, you know, teching is important, but if it's like a 2% or 3% matchup, and there's a card you can run that helps, you can't just tech against everything, right? Sometimes you have to eat losses, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what stream sniping is. Like, I'm not going to weaken my deck just because sometimes I get sniped. I like being able to chat. Having initiative here is actually quite important. I mean, he didn't have a unit anyway, presumably, but whoever develops the unit first gets their Treant Aura to come online and forces their opponent to not be able to, which is pretty nice. Do you think it's harder to create new innovative decks in Gwent or Artifact? That's a hard question. Gwent or Artifact, huh? Woof. Igniting right feels pretty good. Force setting on Zeus does nothing. Igniting mid might be too important though, just because it's the Kana lane. As much as you really like igniting right, igniting mid might be better, right? I want to diabolic this turn from right, which means if I'm igniting mid, I get to curve better because I get to foresight here. So I foresight here and then I ignite diabolic. I can't diabolic. You want to diabolic from right or lanes typically. I mean, that's a rule of thumb, but you want to do it after the combat on as many of your creeps as possible, because you have fewer creeps on the board on this point, right? Like the Zeus will zap this, so it'll die. I'll be able to curve diabolic for less cost. I am upkeep killing my Zeus, but I think that has to be worth it, right? I could just start slapping these diabolics down. Double diabolic? Yo. You do have to use this card really aggressively here, right? Again, I'm not as good at playing this deck as like Strifegrow or Hyped right now. I'm trying to learn. But I've seen very, very aggressive diabolics. I think diabolic ignite just has to be the better play over foresight. I like the idea of developing ignite here, but it has to be too important to play it into the Kana lane.
Let your blood appease the ancient.
So we're upkeep killing our Zeus, which feels kind of bad, but you have to use this really aggressively. And there's kind of no better opportunity to use it than there. Keep the other one in hand for the prey combo later. Start digging through. So we want to open up blue casting on as many lands as possible. This means Ogre might have to go mid. Right now, if we want the option of going off, it has to go left, but mid is kind of an awkward state. That being said, mid is a great target for something like an Annihilation or not at any cost, which we don't have in hand yet. We could just do that later after Zeus respawns. Ogre left feels safer. I don't want to play into Ignite for no reason. So it's too early to spam Prey on the weeks. I feel like I have a fairly good grasp of playing this deck in general. There's gonna be a certain way you have to play the mirror though.
There's two of us to protect.
That I'm not 100% certain on. So again, as a rule of thumb, the more right word you use Ignite, the better. Or the more right word you use Diabolic, the better. But in this case, it looks like it's not going to end up mattering. Because our Zeus is already dead to his Ignite. It's not casting anything. These creeps are already dead here. So I want to Foresight and Diabolic. Foresight has to be the better play first, I think. There's a consideration for Diabolic plus Prey. I think in a matchup against blue, though, you have to save your Prey for combo pieces and just kind of go all in. If we take the Diabolic now, he's got an at any cost that kills everything except for his Ogre. This has a pretty good at any cost, so we might be forced to take the Traveler's Cloak first. And I think we want to cloak this lane as well. So whichever unit is most important to keep alive, which is actually a tough one. It has to be Ogre, right? We need to keep blue casting options open.
15 seconds remaining.
I think it has to be
Between
Ogre.
the two of us, we can figure out how to use this thing. I think we're gonna win this.
Of course we are.
Bye, Zeus. Double Revelation. Do we do this? Do we just jam this? Yo. So if I assume he's playing 2 spells on the right side, these creeps are dead to Zeus anyway, right? Dude, this is kind of an expensive Diabolic. We're killing off 2 of our heroes. We're losing the Oraf of Drow, so we're killing her too. This Diabolic is looking to be not worth it. This can't be worth it, right? Right. If he has another Ignite, we need to Diabolic to kill the Trance, so we don't get upkeep killed. Interesting. Probably a Telegraph. He has 2 in hand. You don't, I think, use that super aggressively unless you have 2 in hand. It's too important in this matchup. It's way too important. Of course, I've got 2 in hand and I still haven't even found an opening for it. So, presumably he'll play 2 blue spells here and kill both of my creeps. If he doesn't have a way to curve 2 blue spells, though, I'm actually pretty... Ooh, nice. Whoa, that's huge. He's screwed, right? That's a really big deal that he didn't have that. So now we can do whatever we want. We've got initiative on our side. Might cycle Arcane Assault. He's not killing these. That's huge for us. So we can cycle Arcane Assault. I think initiative next turn is far too important. We need to draw into Gust.
15 seconds remaining.
What if initiative next turn isn't actually that important? I mean, we don't have our combo pieces. We could Thunder Gods.
5 seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1.
I think I can use this because we have 2. And I still need to draw into my combo piece. The fact that he couldn't curve 2 blue spells into us right is a really big deal. That's an easy. Huh. Okay. You know, sometimes that just happens, guys. So we're feeling pretty good about this game all of a sudden. We have a few options that we kind of like here, but all of them are just worse than Thunder Gods. Whee!
You never should have come here.
Locking him out of this Annihilation feels pretty good. We can get our Hourglass online here. Is this actually a mistake, though? He's basically forced to annihilate us left turn next. We have 3 heroes here. He could at any cost us, actually. We could try to force that out by using Salve. To force him to annihilate us, at least. This deck runs 2 Annihilation.
15 seconds remaining.
If it runs 2 Annihilation... I mean, that's probably the best use of Salve, right? If we can force him to use Annihilate instead of at any cost, it's a big deal.
5 seconds remaining.
But I don't want to Hourglass here.
Me too.
I want to save it for one of these. Which is usually weird. When in doubt, use Hourglass to turn you by it. But I think we actually have to float it here. Because it's not... I mean, he needs to nuke this. And Hourglass... I like the idea of forcing Annihilation instead of at any cost. But Hourglass will just die. It'll only live a turn. And I'd rather stick it to the board. One blink is all we need, I think. So he'll come in hot left. Zeus left for Annihilation, presumably. We can't overcommit to that lane anymore. We have to assume he gives up initiative there. We don't have a way to get Incarnation of Salamania online right now. We're not really playing for Thunder God's Wrath either way. If Zeus goes left, he splits his green up, presumably. If he's splitting his green up, then we should split our blue up as well. Which means Zeus here, Kana here. This is just kind of the safe deployment. Nothing fancy. Yeah, Zeus left, split the green up. That's just what he has to do. So we'll equip Hourglass on our Zeus mid, basically, which feels pretty good. So he has to open Annihilation here. This is a neat function of the salve, forcing him to have it. Like, the thing is, if we don't salve this and he had any costs, not only does he not have to use an Annihilation, which is a resource for him as a 2-of slot, but he keeps his Zeus alive, which is nuts. Okay, this is fine too. So if he's going for this play, either he doesn't have Annihilation, or perhaps he's got a second Thunder Gods in hand he wants to play. I mean, if I can clone it with Ogre, I kind of win on the spot by playing it here. But I shouldn't be playing to high roll in this case, right? Prayer in the Weak is too bad here.
15 seconds remaining.
I mean, Thunder Gods in here is kind of a bad play unless it gets cloned, right? Yeah, I'm sure this happens though, right? Hey. Dude, this play makes no sense unless this gets cloned, by the way. Like, that's just so useless. Nice meme. So we need to blink our Ogre mid so that we can kill him with Thunder Gods. So we assume that he's going to Thunder Gods again, because otherwise his play makes no sense. And if he's going to Thunder Gods again, we need to blink our Ogre now before it dies to the Zeus zap. Because our Zeus is dying to Thunder Gods if he plays it, and we need to play it in response to him. So we blink our Ogre mid now. Now he takes one more Thunder Gods. Our Ogre's going to go down to 1 health. Okay, never mind. That's kind of weird. He has to have the other Thunder Gods, right? Well, it doesn't matter because we're nuking his board anyway. This is fine.
Perfect.
Okay. Come to daddy. Dude, you can't escape... Shit, what does he say? God damn it. I used to play Zeus too. What's the voice line? You can't escape something something. God's wrath? So it's something generic. It's like...
I'll make good use of this.
Fun fact, Zeus was actually the first hero I ever played in Dota. When I was just learning the game, I spammed like a dozen games of Zeus and just used his ult to kill steal. I actually got really good at it. That was literally the first skill I learned in Dota, was clicking on the minimap, doing the math on how much Zeus's ulti would deal, and then just using it to kill steal and nothing else. Would have been really funny if he spawned into my Zeus. Looks like he's living here. Dude, this sucks. I mean, if he plays Gust, I have to start with my own Thunder Gods. I can't use anything else.
15 seconds remaining.
Could add any cost and blow everything up.
Feel my wrath.
You can't run from heaven. There we go. Oh. Oh, wow. Look at this. Huh. The sad thing is, I'm fairly confident that I would have won this game without those multicasts. But now it's just like, who knows? Just multicast it twice. Why even practice Artifact? He dies to ignite anyway. Yeah, but I want to kill him out of this mana pool. Like, upkeep kills are nice and all, but this is the stage in the game where I would rather really just deny him the ability to play 14 mana. That's interesting. Okay. So, we can Diabolic here. Is this just the best turn to Diabolic? Into Arcane? We don't need initiative though, right? Because we've lost all of our heroes. Then we just hourglass and stay alive. I mean, we're definitely hourglassing. We don't really have anything useful to do. Diabolic at this point doesn't really do anything. We've kind of drawn through everything we need to draw through. We can Sanctum this on lane, curve it with Ignite. We do want to Ignite somewhere. Where is he playing? He wants to split. So we need to basically play Ignite on the lane where it's worst for his Ogre to go. Or sorry, worst for the Kana to go. So if I'm him, I'm deploying Ogre Kana. Does Kana just go left just because it's left? I mean, if it's defensible, it kind of goes left, right? Just fight for left, right?
You all will scream.
That's to make the most sense. And there's no reason to play for initiative here, so we just take a foresight. We could take a 3 doggo prey if we want. We need to draw into more combo pieces, though. I mean, prey could be kind of useful, right? What the hell are we drawing into? The thing is, this game is just won or lost off of combo. This deck is so all in at this point. The concept of pressure doesn't really do anything. However, I think that there's nothing more I can draw into for value. I think Diabolic can't do enough here. I want to save it for my combo anyway at this point. And I don't actually want to kill my creeps here. Diabolic is something you want to use more in the early game. Let's buy some stuff. Blink is actually useful. I mean, there's no reason to float gold, right? So we can buy the armor.
15 seconds remaining.
Keenfolk is not really doing
5
anything
seconds
here.
remaining. 3.
This is fine. We can buy blinks later. We have 1 blink already. We're deploying 4 heroes, so we don't really need it. So he'll go off in left lane pretty hard. Holding onto this hourglass ended up being really important. Being able to use it on a hero that stays alive and not using it on the ogre that dies. I mean, if you look at this turn, if we used it on something that would have died, we don't have it for this turn. And this is the most essential turn. Because he has his combo and he's ready to go off. This is the turn where we want to stop that from just rampaging all over our board, basically. This is still pretty scary, though. If he steals initiative, we can steal it back. And then we can open left lane. We actually have our combo, finally. So it looks like we're just going off in the left lane now. So we have the choice to play cards plus assaults. 3 damaged units. We can play like 2 Prey on the Weaks into Arcane Assault. It's 12 total damage. That blows, right? Ew. I mean, stealing initiative is actually relevant. And this is our 2nd assault, so we should just save it like a normal person. Okay. Like, we just win the game now. This looks good. This is honestly such a good feel. It's worth playing this deck just for this feeling. I guess we can do this too. We just go off in both lanes. I mean, why not, right? I think we are just going off in both lanes, right? Oof, triple left. And the entire game just boils down to the single fact that I have initiative on this turn. Like, imagine how differently this game goes if he has initiative on exactly this turn. There's actually nothing else in this game that matters, except for who has initiative on this exact turn. Bam.
Know your power to be foolishness. Do not force me to correct you. Intriguing.
Neat.
Feel the wind in the high branches, the thunder in the roots below.
So 2 emissaries, 2 incarnations. We want to end with Arcane Assault. We want to steal initiative back at the end so we can go off in this lane too, and then we incarnation here as well. So we just want to save all of our actual going off for this lane. We just want to go off a little bit here, and then we'll go off hard in the next lane. So how do you go off only a little bit? I mean, I guess we can Thunder Gods. Maybe we can Thunder Gods like 3 times.
Who killed you?
Okay. This is like the definition of only going off a little bit, right? I guess we should draw into our other gust, though. Blink dagger. That's funny. I mean, he did just give up initiative. But I don't have my other gust. If I Diabolic, I have to get more damage out here. I guess I could solve this first. Or I could just doggo afterwards. But I might want to save all my doggos for mid.
15 seconds remaining.
From beyond the veil of augury, I come very fierce.
The thing is, I'm drawing Gust, right? Like, Diabolic will always get me there. Diabolic plus double unearthed. I think I actually only have like 5 cards left in my deck at this point. Okay, he's out. That would have been really funny. So I play the second secrets left. I use Diabolic after salving my Druid for maintaining lethal. I draw 4 cards. Guaranteed, I think almost guaranteed top deck into my second Gust. Steal initiative with Arcane Assault and do literally the same thing mid. Literally the same thing. I Gust into Sanctum into Salamene. So we just Gust Salamene both lanes. What a dumb deck.